How's it going, everybody? It's Stas here. Welcome back to another video. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about my M1 finance portfolio, in particular, how it performed in 2019, what different stocks I'm holding and ETFs I'm holding right now, what dividends I made, how much from dividends, how much from capital appreciation, and my goals for this portfolio here heading into 2020. Well, we're actually already in 2020, so in the year of 2020. And the truth is, guys, I made this portfolio, you guys can see up here, on the 2nd of July. And when I made that video and kind of started this M1 Finance series, I told you guys and I told myself that I'm going to build this portfolio up a couple $100s a month so it eventually gets to a couple of thousands of dollars, right? And the truth is, I've kind of put this portfolio on the back burner, and that's completely on me. I haven't been adding as much money to it as I've wanted to, which is why it's still at $1,100. And back in July when I started it, guys, I figured in 6 months, 7 months, which we're in the future now, it's 7 months later, the portfolio should be a couple $1,000, and fast forward, and again, it's only $1,100. So for 2020, let's go over the goals very quickly so I can get them straight across to you guys, and I can vow to myself with this video that I will stick to these, and I promise that I will stick to these. The first goal is $500 minimum deposit / invested into the portfolio. So $500 per month is going to be put into this at minimum. And the goal is, honestly, guys, to invest that $500 immediately across the different holdings here, maybe in individual holdings that I believe are undervalued. And yeah, that's the goal. $500. That's the first goal of 2020, to get it to that couple $1,000 level that I want it to be, and to get the money really growing and compounding and dividends really churning out of the portfolio. So the second main goal here is to keep the portfolio under 20 holdings. The goal is to have it right around 20 holdings by the end of 2020. And if we look here, we can see right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 holdings, and I'm looking to add Boeing here, which will be the 15th holding. And you may be asking yourself, Stas, what are those other 5 stocks that you want to add to your portfolio since you only have 15 right now? And how I kind of figure that out is I have a watch list of stocks that I haven't invested in quite yet because they're too expensive for me. And, once these stocks go undervalued, then I'll add them to these portfolios, right? Or to this portfolio, rather. Not even extremely undervalued. The stock doesn't have to tank for me to add it. Once the stock takes some sort of dip, some sort of correction, that's when I'm looking to add it, right? And some of these stocks are Apple. That's a huge dividend growth stock that I want to add to this portfolio due to this portfolio being mostly a dividend growth portfolio, right? Microsoft is another one. Disney is another one that I want to add. Those are 3 off the top of my head, and I do have a lot more, which you'll have to subscribe to the channel if you want to see what I end up doing here in the year of 2020. So 2 more goals for the portfolio. These are more micro goals and kind of how I want to really run the portfolio. If a holding gets ridiculously overweight, I want to trim some of that holding and add it to underweight holdings. And that's not to lock in profits, but it's really to keep a holding from not getting ridiculously overweight in the portfolio. Because I didn't mention this quite yet, I want to run this portfolio kind of like my own ETF, right? Let's say, imagine hypothetically here, I were running my own ETF. That's kind of how I want to treat this holding, and I really don't want any individual holding getting more than, 6, 7%. Ideally, I want to have them all around 5%. Some I'm going to have around 8, 10%, maybe 10% being the highest, but we'll go over that here in a couple of minutes and in the next videos in this series. So again, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And I want to focus on dividend growth, which I mentioned here a couple of minutes ago. And what is dividend growth? It's really just investing in companies that pay a growing dividend income stream, a growing dividend stream. So the goal is to grab these dividends and reinvest them into the portfolio. And for me, guys, why I want to do dividend growth investing is because year after year, you see these averages online. I personally use seekingalpha.com for these averages, right? But you see online that companies, they grow sometimes their dividend 10% per year, 15% per year. You see these 5-year averages being 10, 15%. And the way you have to realize that is every single year, it's like you're getting a 10 to 15% increase in your salary from the one company that you invest in. Let's say, for example, 3M increases their dividend 10% for the next 5 years, which is probably a bit lofty, but hypothetically here, that is your salary from 3M, that dividend they're paying you, right? That's kind of how you have to view it here, growing 10%. And if you look at, jobs in the job market, a lot of the time, those salaries grow between, let's say, 2-3%, maybe 5%. So dividend investing, especially these companies that have dividend growth investing, rather, especially in these companies that have extremely quick growing dividends, it's a smart thing to do, especially if you're a cash flow investor, which, again, this portfolio is mostly around that. Sure, I have companies that don't pay dividends like Baba, Amazon, Facebook, PayPal, but the majority of them do pay dividends. And a company, for example, that's growing its dividend over the past 5 years at a very quick rate, for my memory here, is Boeing. That's why I'm adding it to the portfolio, and it's at a very low price right now. Not extremely low, not a basement value price, but it's at a dip where I think it's a decent idea for the extremely long-term investor to consider adding some Boeing here. I believe they grow their dividend 20% over the past 5 years. Another one that I want to add is Microsoft, like I mentioned earlier. Very small dividend, but they're growing it fast. Apple, very small dividend. I think it's bigger than Microsoft's, but they're growing it fast. So these are the type of companies that I want in the portfolio, and some companies that don't really grow them too fast but pay a big current yield, such as AT&T. This company, I believe it grows its dividend 2% year over year, which pretty much keeps up with inflation, but they pay a current yield of, I believe, like 6%. And you guys can see it here, 5.3%. So overall, those are some goals for the portfolio, and kind of how I want to run it here in 2020, and certain changes that I want to make. Now let's quickly go over its gain in 2019, and as you guys can see, it's pretty much January 7th right now, so we're pretty much not even into 2020 yet. We're obviously into it, but since the inception of the portfolio, which was actually in July, this portfolio has been running for about 6 months now. The return is 21%, a gain of $106.21, with market gains being $96.77 and earned dividends being $9.44. And if we zoom down very quickly, Johnson & Johnson being the top holding right now, SPHD being the second holding that is actually a monthly paying ETF that I personally love. It's a low volatility ETF, and I want this to be the staple, probably the biggest holding of my portfolio here. It pays a 4.12% dividend, and the expense ratio is only 0.3%. So how I'm going to do this, guys, is with this being 15% of my portfolio right now, Obviously, when I add more stocks, like I mentioned, maybe Disney, Apple, Microsoft at some point this year, this is going to get trimmed down from 15%, maybe to about 8 to 10%. And again, that's going to be the staple of my portfolio, and every other holding is going to be roughly in the range of about 4% to the low end, maybe to the high end of 7%. That's kind of how I'm going to run it here, and eventually I might get the 20 holdings, I might not, right? We'll see what ends up happening. Next here we have SPYD, another high yielding ETF. This will probably end up getting bumped down to about a 6% holding, maybe 5%, maybe 7%. We'll end up seeing there. Altria is one right now that is around 7% goal of the portfolio, but it's at 10% right now. So this one, I'm reinvesting the dividends. Maybe I end up buying more. We'll see, but eventually I want it to be around a 5% holding, 5-6%. PayPal's one that I want to be definitely at 5%, which is why you see the goal here being 5%. It's currently 8.2% of the portfolio. So this one, I'm not going to add any more money to it. Probably just going to let it ride out here. Already up 10% since buying, which really was about a month or two ago, which is great. Facebook's another one here. This one will probably end up being 6% of the portfolio, up 15% right now on Facebook. 3M want to keep it at 5% of the portfolio. This is perfect. It's at around 6.6 right now, and as the other holdings increase, 3M will end up going to 5%. So McDonald's, 6 to 7% is the goal. This one's right on par. AbbVie, this one's right on par with 5%. It's at 5.2% right now. VEA, it's at 6%, which is one of my favorite emerging international market. Actually, no, it's not an emerging market. It's a developed market ETF here, as you guys can see. Up 10% on this one roughly right now, and this is one that I want to keep probably around 5 to 6%, and it's right on par. Amazon, this one, goal of 7%, but honestly, I might end up dropping that down to maybe 5-6% because, again, I want to focus mostly on dividend growth stocks in this portfolio, and as of right now, Amazon does not pay a dividend, right? Baba, right around 5%. This may be the best holding I have in terms of percentage. It's up almost 40% here, and the goal is to keep it at around 5% since, like Amazon, it does not pay a dividend as of right now. Actually, does it pay a dividend? Let me just double check that, guys. It does not pay a dividend. Yeah, it does not pay a dividend. For some reason, I had a thought in my head that Baba for a split second paid a dividend, but I knew deep down it did not pay a dividend. Anyway, gold. This is actually a hedge position I have. Ticker symbol GLD. This is 5% of my portfolio, and it's going to stay at 5%. As you guys can see, since buying into this, we've been seeing some fear in the markets. The VIX has been creeping up, which is the fear index. For those of you guys that don't know, that's what a lot of people call it. And yeah, gold's been pushing up, and this is up a nice, sweet 8%. And this is really to hedge against the markets. A lot of people, when stocks end up dumping, when people are scared of the economy, cash, right? The US dollar, they end up putting their money into gold as sort of a safe haven. And we've been seeing that, which again is why this is up 8% here. And the final holding is AT&T with a goal of 5%. It's currently at about 2.7%, so I might have to end up adding a little bit there. And Boeing is one that I have not yet funded. I have not bought it quite yet, but it's going to be bought here in the next couple of days as I do add money into the portfolio. And again, my goal is minimum, guys, minimum $500 per month, up to $1,000. $1,000 might be the maximum. Who knows? Maybe more. We'll see how it ends up going, but $500 is the minimum. So overall, that is what my portfolio looks like right now. 2019 performance, some goals. If we go here to my activity, we can see, again, I've been slacking, guys. I haven't really been adding money into it. You can see dividends are coming in. I've been buying here and there, but really I just have not been adding money into it. So yeah, you can can see, some $30 deposits, some $25 deposits, but at the end of the day, $50 deposit, but at the end of the day, I want to ramp it up a bit more for me personally to really challenge myself in building this portfolio. So overall, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. It was a bit longer of a video for an M1 update, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know down below, what are your thoughts on my portfolio? What are your thoughts on my goals and my holdings and how I'm planning on running it this upcoming year? I'd love to know. And if you guys actually want to sign up for the M1 portfolio, great long-term portfolio in my opinion that really works for you. You can actually turn on auto invest and just add money to it, and it puts it into your individual holdings, which is very convenient. You can actually sign up using my affiliate link down below, and right now, guys, if you sign up and fund it, you actually get $20. Usually it's $10, but you get $20 right now. They're running a promotion. I believe it's limited with any deposit. So yeah, get your $20 on M1 Finance. The link is down below. I appreciate all you guys watching this video. It means a lot to me. Let's grow this bad boy in 2020. And yeah, peace out, guys.